Wild Captive Media fans, we're back, and with me today is someone from the origin, the genesis, the beginning. If you've been listening to us for a long time, Lauren, I'm talking to you. We have Cousin Ian back in the studio. What's up? Oh, and Zane's here, whatever. But Cousin Ian is back.
I'm
Dude,
back.
it's so good to have you back. Now, you are a film school boy.
I am.
So you have like actual like credibility here.
A little bit, maybe.
More than Zane. I mean, more than me,
yeah.
I guess, in a sense. Well, I don't know. I think I've earned some credibility, but Zane for sure.
Fuck me, I guess.
So, dude, we're so excited to have you here. And today, with Cousin Ian, we're reviewing Under the Skin. Under the Skin was directed by Jonathan Glazer and is a very dense and metaphoric film. There is so much to discuss within the film, but let's just be honest. We're probably not going to get to everything that people want us to get to, but we'll do our best to give an honest and fair review as well as detail our opinions and experiences while watching the film. There was a lot of conspiracy around this movie, especially the way it was shot in Glasgow, and a lot of people actually in Scotland not knowing that they were in the film at the time of filming, nor do some of them even know now that they're currently in the film. And because of this, there was a lot of backlash with the movie. And as a result, we got some of the scariest and most earnest performances you'll ever see, some of which might just get under the skin. Ooh. Guys, so as I was talking about before we even get into the review part, it's so good to have you. I feel like I'm flustered because Ian's here. It's like I'm performing to Ian. What's going on?
Just giving you the butterflies.
Just act like I'm part of the
he's just
couch.
such a guy, you know?
I'm just part of the couch, man.
Anyway, the thing with the movie, a lot of people, like a lot of scenes where you would not believe the actors weren't actors, like Scarlett Johansson really drove around Scotland, Glasgow, whatever it may be, all those surrounding areas, and talked to random everyday people.
Yeah.
Picked up real men that were not acting, had discussions with them, some of which, after being told that it was a part of the movie, agreed to do the following scenes. Some of which did such offensive things before they were told it was a movie that they refused to do the following scenes, like stare at Scarlett Johansson's breasts and be a pervert.
I mean, but that was kind of the point, right?
Yeah, no, they still used the shot because all they had to do was pay the city of Glasgow, and nobody had to sign any releases or be informed they were in the movie because of the shooting laws of the area.
That's absolutely,
you can see why that makes a lot of great performances, but also maybe a little
problematic,
unethical, but whatever.
Yeah.
It did get literally some of the best performances I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a lot of dialogue to work with, so that really says something. So for me, we'll get into spoilers in a second. It's hard to talk about the movie and not get into some of the spoilers. But this is as close to a 10 out of 10 movie I can think of for what it was going for. Mm-hmm. There are some moments where you're asked to like suspend some disbelief. A certain beach scene to me just seems so illogical that it couldn't have happened the way it did.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like it served an amazing purpose and was really horribly disgusting to watch. But that's what it was going for. So for me, it's a total 10 out of 10. Zane, what did you think of it?
Shit. Okay. So yeah, mine, I was kind of like the whole time, just in general, I feel like a lot of the times horror movies, you go for a lot more of those like how do you tell a good horror
it's not
story?
actually described as a horror movie.
Is it not?
Isn't that fucked up? It should be.
I thought when I paused it on the app that I was watching it on, it showed it as horror and fantasy. The two.
That's strange. Maybe I have the DVD copy. And like it doesn't describe itself as horror, it describes itself as science fiction thriller.
Yeah.
But I totally think it's horrific. So that title works for me.
There's a lot of the time it's how do you tell a compelling story whenever you're doing those really weird and ethereal concepts. And I feel like it was a strong choice, but for the most part, the dialogue in this movie is minimal at most, but they do such a great job of showing you everything else and allowing like the visuals and everything to really take you away, even with the the different performances given by like the street actors or
Yeah, not actors,
like,
by the way.
Yeah, the
I
street
have to keep
people.
like some of the people that were actors. We'll get into the spoilers because that might spoil things. But yeah, not
Yeah.
the people that you think were actors. You'd be surprised who was not an actor.
Yeah.
We'll just say that.
But yeah, it was definitely. There are parts of like I feel a similar feeling in my heart for this movie as I do for like Lighthouse, where it's like I can tell this was a good movie. Like I didn't hate watching it, but I kind of hated watching it.
It wants you to hate
Yeah.
it, right? Yeah.
I want to go ahead. I think I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10 because I'm less inclined to give them a pass on some of the weirder stuff that they did, like the mom and the dad, or almost got into a spoiler there.
Yeah, like okay, but just to give a gloss of an idea, the movie is dense with metaphors of superficiality and surface level understanding and attraction, and I think the part that you were going to mention, we'll talk about it more in detail, but I think I might disagree. But we'll see. We'll see.
But that's as far as like there were just a couple of things where suspending the disbelief or whatever I was like having a little bit of trouble with, and sometimes it's a bit difficult to follow what exactly is happening on screen at a
it
given
doesn't
time.
explain anything to anybody. It is not like a straightforward movie.
It is at no point ever going to try to hold your hand
No.
through the watching
If anything,
experience.
it's like actively outrunning you.
Yeah, I would be interested to try to watch this a second time, but it is a rough watch. So like, producer Lacey tried to nope out at the like first 15 minutes. She was like, "And I think I'm done watching this."
Yeah, I wouldn't blame her. When I told you guys about the movie, I'm like, this movie is wildly disturbing. Like,
Yeah, it's weird. It is. I'd say definitely worth a watch, but be ready to like. At a certain point, you're gonna want to walk away. Power through it. The second half, I will say, I did enjoy way more than the first half. But yeah, it is definitely. It's a great movie. Go check it out. I'm sticking with an 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ian, please.
Well, I gotta say, first off, I agree about the visuals.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the visuals
Yeah,
of that film,
dude,
are
I mean,
so
Every
great.
shot is stunning.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's truly beautiful.
The
and,
way
like,
they
I'm
use-
surprised that I haven't like seen more of it before
Yeah.
now because it's truly great looking.
The telephoto lens at the beach, like no spoilers, but just the whole scene with that like long. I mean, dude, it's crazy, right?
It's crazy.
I knew that you would totally be all about the visuals too. When I suggested it, I was like, oh, Ian's coming on. I got to give him something that's gonna look insane.
It's all crisp. It's all like fucking gorgeous. Honestly,
Every time they're in the weird space, I'm just like, this looks so weird and ethereal, and I love it.
yeah,
like-
because it's either black or white, and like
Yeah, like
it
the-
just drowns
the
the
white
surroundings.
background with that ant, dancing on the finger at the very
Yeah.
beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And that's not a spoiler. It's just like the
First 5
blacks
minutes, yeah.
are so black. You know what I mean?
And that's-
Like,
So I've got the OLED TV where if it's black in the movie, it doesn't illuminate the light crystals. So a lot of this movie, I was like, I can't fucking see anything because I think I don't even know if OLEDs were out in 2013, but like most of the stuff there would be blacks, and I'm like, I can't see.
There's a
any of
setting
that
on your
shit.
TV called Movie, and it stops it from doing that. I'm not
Maybe,
kidding.
but yeah.
No, just because I know OLED TVs pretty well. Like I want an OLED TV. So guys, if you're out there, and you have an OLED TV you don't want. But no, seriously, there's a setting for that because
Yeah.
they do that for like the rendering and everything. But there's a setting you can work around with that.
But honestly, I loved having those blacks be just that pure darkness because it made it feel even more unsettling.
Yeah, it's like
So
a
they were-
void.
Yeah, it was just like it felt like just darkness personified in those moments where it was just like, this is really upsetting and I hate it, but I loved it. It was like,
Beautiful.
yeah, it's like you are pretty to look at, but God, you are making me uncomfortable.
But
It's
yeah,
just like being on this couch with you.
exactly, man. It's so great.
Why did you stop? I'll hold your knee. It's fine.
Oh no!
no.
Get your hands off each other. We're professionals. We're at work. Come on.
All right.
Anyway, what were you saying? You were
I
talking
gotta-
about the visuals and everything.
Yeah,
and
like I wasn't very like disturbed by much of the film, honestly, except for no spoilers. That ending scene,
yeah.
that
Yeah.
part, very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
you know, like, and that's the purpose. It's definitely the purpose.
I say I've got a couple of scenes that made me like that I'll go into in spoilers, but yeah, no.
like, I mean, you have to watch, but like, you catch yourself looking away for
Yeah.
sure. You're
So,
like,
out of 10, where does it land for you?
I'd say probably like 7.
7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
Fair.
Still,
I
still
almost said 8, but I'm not going to be that guy.
who's that guy?
That matches scores or something.
matches
we
the- what does
fucking
that
can't-
matter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Fine,
like,
I'm changing mine to a 7.
what are you gonna
What are
do
you gonna do
now,
now?
buddy?
6.
Fuck! He's ruined it for all of us.
Somewhere out there, Scarlett Johansson's like, I don't care. I'm incredibly rich.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, we're about to get into the spoilers, but I just wanted to say before we do that, this is the only movie that plays Darude by Sandstorm. You
Yeah.
know that song that
Sandstorm by Darude?
Yeah, Sandstorm
Yeah.
by Darude. Yeah. Is it Darude by Sandstorm? Is it
it's
Sandstorm
it's
by
Sandstorm by Darude.
Okay, fair enough. It's the only movie I've seen where it plays it unironically and the movie's still good. So good on them for that. Guys, we'll be right back with the spoilers. Hold up. Hey there, Smarty Mart shoppers. We're back talking about Under the Skin. And I just wanted to talk about what, in my opinion, is the overall message of the movie, which is the superficial view on beauty. Like, you see Scarlett Johansson walking through the mall and seeing all these people doing their own makeup, and you're seeing the emphasis on beautiful models in the window, and men's attraction to certain women and disdain for others. You see it all exemplified with zero dialogue in that scene. And you come to find throughout the movie that is a repeating trend, even in the sense of how she picks up dudes and, feeds them to her weird alien machine.
Yeah. I say she's honeypotting.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, that's the whole, yeah. And it's a lot of very, I don't want to say very obvious, because like until you do sit down a little while after watching the movie, some of that stuff doesn't immediately hit you. There's a lot of this whole movie is just a lot of show don't tell.
Yeah.
I feel like could just be the like byline of the movie.
Yeah. And it's like, especially at the end when the skin starts to like break apart and fall off, it's just one giant metaphor of like, all that beauty and everything. It's not at the basis of who you are as a person, even though people throughout the entire movie, including the man who tried to even rape her, assessed her worth completely based on her physical appearance, right?
Yeah.
And at the end there, it's a very dark ending, but it really does have a stronger message than just, oh, we have an alien who was sent here on a mission to trap men and turn them into meatloaf or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
So I really loved the ending for that, but man, that ending is so fucking uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
Easily one of the most uncomfortable scenes in a movie I've seen in a long time. So what were some of the points in the movie that kind of stuck out to you as like, wow, this is really obscure and or creative and amazing? Ian, you first.
Honestly, like, as mentioned before, I loved the blackness and the whiteness of those scenes where they're in that void and in those
And
rooms.
you've also got that like reflective.
Yeah. And like, just seeing Scarlett Johansson walking across, and then the men slowly get into the water.
See,
and,
I thought you were just gonna say
disappear.
like just seeing Scarlett Johansson walk across.
And one or
Well,
two of
that's
those men, that was one or two of those guys, that was their first acting job. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, these are dudes that are picked up. They convince them like, hey, do you want to? I think the first guy was an actor, and the gentleman who was deformed, who played the deformed, so to speak.
Yeah.
I think he was also an actor. But a lot of the guys in between were not actually actors. They were dudes that had spoken to her in this setup where she's basically Borating them, And it's such a
great.
fucking crazy turn, but it's crazy to see how well everything was executed also without necessarily professional actors pulling off these scenes.
I say, as far as visuals, I know that one scene that just had me like actively like fucked up was when the dude was like in the like other dimension or like that, like
It's a machine. I think it's a machine.
I say the plot synopsis had it listed as another dimension.
I just watched the director's commentary, and the only time that he referred to it was calling it a machine.
Right
but
on,
that doesn't
yes.
mean that it's not what you guys said. I'm just
But
saying
also,
that's where I'm
it's-
drawing that from.
Everything is up to speculation, so you're just kind of left to wonder like what is happening, why is this happening?
It might as well be a
Yeah.
pocket universe as far as what it
Yeah.
serves
Yeah,
for
because
the
they
plot.
never refer to it once.
Yeah, they
All
never-
you know is it's a part of her mission that she
Yeah.
needs to collect these guys and do this. You don't really know why, even by the end of it. There's nothing you can draw to prove whatever reason they're doing this for. So it doesn't really matter.
It's very much like a choose your own adventure. Choose how you feel like you got to watch it. You decide what was happening.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting for that because there's not that many things out there that allow you to kind of come to your own conclusions like that. A lot of the times, especially in like Hollywood and stuff, they're very much like, well, they need to have answers. And I think that this was a bold choice to do that, but I think that it turned out very well for this film. But I do know, like, when the one guy is like sinking down and you watch his reflection and him like slowly meld until it's just perfectly flat blackness, and then when the one guy is sinking down and then he sees the other guy and he goes to touch him and then he kind of like drifts off and then just
Crunches.
it's like I was like, huh, that's, and then you like watch
Yeah.
the skin just kind of like drift and I'm just like, fucking hate this. I hate this so goddamn much.
And it's another play too, because the whole thing is like under the skin. You have Scarlett Johansson's literal fake skin. You have the metaphoric angle of it, but then you also have like this idea of the question of like what's the goal? What is
Yeah,
she
what
trying
are
to
they
accomplish? What are they pulling? Like why are they pulling everything under the skin? You know, like
Yeah.
it just plays so many different ways. But one of the scenes I did have a problem with was the beach scene.
Yeah.
And it's not that I think it was too grotesque or horrible, although it was all of those things. I think the issue with it is what is the likelihood that she'd just be walking around on the beach and there's a full family that are on the beach and then two of them drowned as
See-
the child is out on the shore.
That's not even my problem with it.
It just, I'm okay with suspending disbelief, but this movie in a lot of ways is, even though it's very like interpretive, it's also very straightforward in its own way too. I mean, when she's discovering her body and stuff and like trying to essentially be human, I mean, they're being so literal in the ways that she's reacting that I'm like, okay, this is a very earnest movie, even though it's very interpretive. But then they have this just wacky side plot moment that seems like it is just written so exactly and perfectly for the situation that I could never believe it. I suspended my disbelief for how good the movie is, but I'm just like, I hate this scene.
See, my complaint with that was like the idea that to chase after the dog, the wife is going to go in there and get into trouble, and then the husband's going to go in there, and both of them are leaving their child. Like, as much as I love my dog, I know that people will always talk about like, oh, my dog is my child, and it's like, absolutely, I fucking love my animals, but there's also there's an understanding that we have as human beings that like, I love this animal, they're probably going to stay with me for about 10, 15 years. There is your child, your little extra human being
I
that
think
you're growing.
I think the understanding pulled to the idea that the guy wasn't there alone, right? He spoke to Scarlett Johansson's character. He assumed that if things were to be hairy while saving his wife, that there would be a decent human being that was just chatting him up that would make sure that his child was okay. And I think that the waves had gotten so bad, he was in fear of his wife dying, so he made a split decision of, there's a person I just talked to watch after my child. This is an opportunity for me to go
but
save my wife.
that wasn't, he never talked to Scarlett
Yeah, he did. He
Johansson.
talked to her right before the drowning whole incident. That's when
No,
he talked
because
to her.
there was the family, and then there was
it's
the Czech
same,
dude.
It's the
that
same
she was-
guy. It's the same guy. He ran after his wife. He walked away instead of running
No,
after
he
his
ran
wife.
after and he pulled the other guy out of the water. I literally just watched it 30 minutes ago.
No, I'm telling you, I've seen the movie so many times. The guy that he spoke to is the same one as the father who starts to drown.
She's talking to the guy who he said that he was alone. He was from the Czech Republic. He was in the diving suit because he was out there swimming. And then the family, he sees the wife go, he sees the father go, he swims and he pulls the father back. And then the father hits him and then swims back after his wife. That's what happens. And then after he hit him, he's sat there like knocked out on the beach. The father went off and drowned, and then Scarlett Johansson
Maybe you're right.
kills
I
the
don't know.
diver guy.
It's been a minute since I've watched it, so maybe you're right.
That's exact. Like again, I watched it 30 minutes ago. Yeah, bit for bit, that's exactly how
Zane's
it ran
explanation makes it make so much more sense to me now because I was confused what the fuck was going on. But yeah,
that's she.
Yeah.
There was a family off in the distance. She had scouted this dude who was all by himself, so she showed up and she was like, "Hey, this dude seems all by himself. I can take this guy. It doesn't matter that a family's over there. They're just going to see a dude walk off with a girl." So that wasn't the issue. Had she been talking to the husband, he had a family, he had connections. That would have thrown off the plan. She only takes people if they're by themselves. But my issue with that scene still stands that it's not super believable that even going after your wife and everything, if you've seen her disappear, that you are going to.
I don't know,
might
man.
try,
I disagree. I
but
think that somebody would definitely try.
It's just
Especially
like, the idea
even
of
if he
just
punched a
leaving
guy
your
on the
child.
beach. Even if he punched the guy on the beach, he's like, well, he's not going to let my kid die.
Yeah.
So I would still be in the believable mindset that that situation could happen, even if you're right about the chain of events. I still don't disagree with the idea that it could happen. I just think it's so like she stumbled upon a fucking tragedy. It just seems like so
it
random
is such
to
a
me.
weird thing to like be
But
there in that
it
situation.
does serve the purpose of like the soullessness that the guy feels, the guy alien, versus how you're starting to see Scarlett Johansson's character develop empathy. Because in a later scene, you just see her kind of have a bad emotional reaction
When she hears
to
the
a
baby
to
cry.
a different baby crying, right?
Yeah.
And then also when she hears the news about the missing thing and how there's so much fog that nobody's going to go check for them in the water, meaning that the kid's definitely going to die there because nobody's fed it or seen it in a few days. You're seeing like her emotional awakening in a sense.
Yeah.
And it's really circular because the understanding is that the alien girl from before at the beginning, the one she took the clothes from, it's like this cycle where it's like these like honeypot fake women aliens they just can't conquer mankind because honestly it's like so horrible and disgusting and superficial. I understand what the scene needed to do to represent, to like give us an understanding of the character, but I just felt like it was the only one that didn't fit like a glove, whereas every other scene totally made sense to me.
So I wanna check your guys' vibes on something real quick. The girl in the beginning.
yes.
Where do you think that she came from? Because
She's an alien, I think. I think.
That's what you think. I'll get to it. I'll get to you in a second. I want to hear when you saw her, what were your thoughts on where she was, how she came about?
You're talking about the one that
The one that Scarlett
opening scene
Johansson
that she's
takes the clothes
stripping.
from.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Honestly, I think she seduced her just as well as the men.
The one that was
He's talking about the girl that was dead at the beginning.
the one that the motorcycle guy like carried off and then she like brought into there.
He's asking, who do you think that character is?
Oh, honestly, I just assumed it was like going to be another victim, but
Yeah,
something
so-
happened along the way.
So I think it's an alien, and this is why. Throughout the whole movie, you see Scarlett Johansson's character really analyzing the hell out of everybody and everything, basically people watching to the extreme. And when she was undressing the girl, there was no introspection or investigation. But when she found an ant on her body, she looked at it like it was the first living thing she saw on the planet. So I just think that, especially with the weirdness of how the alien girl like body came back, in my opinion, again, I can't for sure say that it's an alien girl or not. Maybe there is like a for sure answer, but this is just my analysis. The significance of the ant, it really felt like it was more than just metaphoric. It was like literal and like, oh shit, this is what things on the planet look like. How interesting.
Yeah.
And then later going out and seeing more different forms of life. But I think that ant was also metaphoric of like how small of a drop in the pan she is to the rest of the planet, and how small of a drop of the pan like people are in general. Like,
see, I also think she was an alien for a totally different reason.
Okay.
It's one, her weird space was the white weird space, and the only time we see the white weird space is when those two are interacting. Mm-hmm. And that is every other time she's in the dark place, and that's when she's feeding people to the machine or whatever the other dimension is that dark space. So if she was going to be fuel or something, like, we know that the weird space can still take dead bodies because she killed the one guy and dragged him off the beach, and assuming probably brought him back to be food for the whatever.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously a corpse can be used, but she was in a different space, and she had that one little tear drop down. She looked dead for all intensive purposes, but there was something still alive inside of her, and I think that's where it becomes cyclical, in that they get these whatever these parts of the aliens are to be the honeypots. They interact with humanity too much, become emotional, and then they have to get another
basically,
one.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think it just boils down to, like, at the end of it, this alien, just got beaten to hell by life, which I think we can all relate to. But in general, I think that was an alien, and that was ScarJo's first interaction with a living thing in regards to the ant from this planet. I think that was them trying to orchestrate to us that, like, everything else in this kind of white spaced realm that they're in, whatever it may be, that's the only, like, outside thing. It was the vibe that it gave, because just the pure fascination of the ant itself. What was, like, for you anyway, Ian, what was, like, your favorite scene from, like, the whole movie?
Favorite scene?
Yeah, you're like this is, like, the best thing that they did in the whole movie.
I don't know.
All right, Zane, you want to go first?
I really don't.
Okay, we'll give you a second to think about that.
Yeah, roll
I
it
think
over.
My favorite scene would have to be, so it's kind of a twofer. So the times that she realizes that she cannot even pretend to be human.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got the time where she tries to eat the cake.
Yeah.
And she has to spit it out because she only skin deep.
Yeah,
she
there's
doesn't,
nothing there.
She can't actually eat anything.
She's
and
like
then
E.T. and shit.
when she tries to have sex, and
You think she could have ate Reese's Pieces? You think maybe, since she's like an alien? Sorry,
but
anyway.
when she goes to try to have sex, and so my question to you guys is, do you think that she was just flat like a Barbie doll down there, or do you think there was like lips and everything, but it just couldn't actually go in?
What a ridiculously weird question.
Yeah.
I don't think it
I want to
matters.
make everybody uncomfortable, but she just like
I'm gonna go ahead and guess no, because she never even like the way that she entrapped the guys was always like she never actually got nude. I think that it was probably entirely synthetic, and there was like nothing really there. I think it was like a blank space.
See, but my question would be, the one dude tries to put it in.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah, but when you go to have sex with somebody, you don't assume they don't have a vagina where it's supposed to
Fair.
be. So I would probably assume that discovery was a little made in a sense, but also like, wait, what's going on?
but also what a crazy shot setting up just Scarlett Johansson with the lamp, like from the back shot. Like, that was probably my favorite just shot in the movie. Like, it's just such a ridiculous visual.
I love two scenes for two different reasons. I
Okay.
love the bus scene because I know that that's a real bus driver and his frustration is so real. He's like, get the fuck off my bus in whatever language he was screaming at her in. And I just love that scene in
He
general.
just had a heavy Scottish bro.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think it
just-
was like he was just like super Scottish as
Yeah.
fuck. Scottish as hell, bro.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, and you know, like the reason why it's so believable is because that's just a fucking bus driver, dude. And there's something so fun about that where I'm just like, man, that guy's a fucking movie star now. What a guy.
Yeah.
So I love that scene, and then I think it's an interesting and very dark scene where she first picks up the character called the Deformed, and she's having the conversation with him in the car, and like, you know, his perspective of it is that he's being given pity, but in reality he's being studied and analyzed aggressively. And the moment where then later, just through her own findings and just she just looked into herself and discovered things about herself, that she gave him pity and like let him go. But it's interesting the build up to that because he has in his mind like this is like a pity fuck essentially, and that's not
almost
what
cried
it is.
when he was like twisting, he was pinching and like twisting his hand, and I was like, fuck, that is like that, just the way that like you see his skin like literally like rippling,
Yeah.
and then he lets go. And I was
And,
just
and
like,
he's just a great actor. Like
Yeah.
genuinely, he
was
fucking
so
killed
good.
it. He killed it because that is such a hard part for people to like even watch and accept. And the fact that not only was it a great performance, it was a likable character. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, out of all the dudes she picked up, that's the one I wanted to get away. And it
Yeah.
wasn't just out of pity. It was literally out of the sense that he wasn't a bad person.
Exactly.
And didn't try to, molest her at any point or anything. He was like utterly respectful. And that was a great depiction of the character, and I thought that scene was incredibly tense because you know the subtext, but to him, it's like a moment of relief. He's like, "Wow, this lady might touch my penis. That's pretty fantastic," and you're vibing with that because you're like, "Okay, good," but it was just a hard scene. Ian, did you come across a scene that you wanted to mention?
Honestly, like I just loved the van scenes picking up the men,
Dude,
because like
and Downton
the
No,
Borat vibes,
Yeah,
the
like-
Nathan
Yeah.
Fielder vibes,
dude,
like,
there's one great scene in that where it's like the first guy she picks up and he's like talking to her and stuff, telling her about how he lives alone, and then he like stares at her breast, and then it's that hard cut. They apparently tried to get that guy to be in the movie, and
Is that why he's not?
That's
in
why he's not
any-
in any other
Yeah.
scenes. That's why all of a sudden it just skips forward to like him being out of the van. But it's also really cool and representative because it's like, oh shit,
She's
she's
just
getting rid of
taking
men.
people.
Where are they
Yeah.
going? And then you get so it's like honestly better.
Yeah.
And you're like, great, that total perv made like a better movie. I love
Yeah.
that.
she got 6, but Deformed Man, he made it out.
Sure did. He sure did. All right. Well, do we even play? What kind of game can you play with content like this? Is there even a game at all you could play? I feel like.
We'll discuss that after the break.
All right, cool. Let's take a quick break. Hey, gang, and welcome to another titillating edition of Pitch That Bitch, the show within the show in which we pitch movies based kind of around the movies that we're already reviewing. And in this movie, as we talked about earlier, they took a guerrilla-style filmmaking choice in which they were filming people, having them interact with the actress, Scarlett Johansson, but not letting them know that they were actually in the movie to get more earnest and real reactions. The question and or the game for you guys is, pitch me a movie in which this kind of filmmaking is being used and it's in some way helps it.
Okay.
Zane.
I think okay, yeah. So I think that something that would be really interesting, probably really difficult to film, have like do almost sort of an action movie style of like giving random people some crazy circumstance that it's like, hey, you have to come with me. Let's go. And just have a bunch of
Like Cash Cab? But like dangerous.
I was gonna say like what would you do?
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
But have it be like full Hollywood production style, hidden cameras throughout, like take them like on just like a run. And then like after that initial 10, 15 minutes of like, hey, all this crazy stuff is happening, then see if they want to do the movie. Like be like, okay, you're an action movie star. Like you went so well with that. Now we're gonna put you in an action movie and just like run forward with that. But I think that
would be cool. Like honestly,
Yeah.
giving them like okay, so like what you're saying. Let me just re-say what you're saying just to clarify and understand that I'm getting it. What you're saying is you take somebody, like put them through a circumstance that's maybe stressful but not entirely dangerous.
yeah.
Pay them handsomely. Let them know after the fact, like, hey, this was a bit. Like, we're gonna pay you, and like this was a prank. But you stand the possibility of being in a major motion picture right now because your reaction was so great. Are you in or are you not? I could totally see that, but
Yeah.
you do run into a bit of a problem.
If they're not a good actor.
Yeah. Also, or you might be directly harassing people.
Yeah, no, I get that. And like that's why it would be
But
like,
it would be a good movie.
it would be a crazy concept to just like go out and do that. Like
Yeah.
that like it's such a
Without getting arrested too.
yeah,
Would be
and
even more
also
impressive.
like you would have to like setting
That's
it up
actually it's
each
not a
time.
terrible idea.
I just imagine like okay, that one said no, reset.
Yeah.
And it's like if you do
That
something
one
really
spit in my face. All right, reset. Reset, guys. We need a new John McClane, and it's not the guy who just fucking punched me. So we're moving on.
But did we get some footage of him punching me? That could be good use.
Yep.
Let's use that in B-roll.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
fuck.
It's got to go. That goes in the trailer.
Absolutely.
But okay, that's amazing. But that I love that. That's easily your best pitch so far. So, yeah.
He's done it.
You pitched that bitch. You really did it. Yeah. Okay, so mine is a lot more simple and possibly a lot less dangerous. I'm going to guess it is. So what I would do is around the time of election time, I would create a fictional politician, have that politician campaign with people, like go face to face with people, and convince them to vote for said politician. Only to then turn right back around and tell them, like, you're dumb, this person's not real. And the circumstances and the policies I would give, I would tailor to the specific person and make ridiculous.
Yeah.
I would and whatever people were still vibing with it, I would hire them as actors to join the campaign run.
That would be some ridiculous. That's like what Borat. What's
Borat?
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's like to the nth degree of
Yeah, and
like,
he's
his type of
he's
shit.
the fucking man. So
Yeah,
he knows the
King
good
of
shit.
this guerrilla style, like. But that is definitely. I feel like that would be such a. What do you do if you get enough popularity and win?
Then it's a direct reflection that I can show to the U.S. public, like, hey.
Like, hey, there's a problem.
And also, I would legally change my name to that person and become the president.
Yeah.
Obviously. No, kidding. But it would be interesting because, like, I could get a very charismatic actor to be said politician, right? And let's face it, politicians, they're a little fuddy-duddy. All right, Ted Cruz looks like he was inflated at some point as of recently. So they're not exactly the most likable people for the most part. But you put somebody in there who's like a Bob Odenkirk, right? Or somebody of that level of charisma.
Yeah.
But somebody who's maybe a little snaky and can get in with the bad people as well. You know, people with bad opinions, they can snake their way in and be like, oh, yeah, totally. I totally agree with you. And like, they're
And
coming into
basically
our
just-
country, taking our jobs, I swear.
Every time you're interacting with somebody like across the aisle, like, oh, I'm talking to Democrats right now. Let's say some ridiculous shit for Democrats. Oh, I'm talking to Republicans right now. Ridiculous shit for Republicans.
Yeah.
Just wholesale, no bar. Just like,
Or
oh, I'm
like,
gonna
you know,
say
like,
everything.
and I can do it to both sides, right? Like, I could have him approach a group of feminists with like a cat t-shirt and blue dreads. Like, I could
Yeah.
do all of those things.
Yeah.
And I think that would be incredibly funny.
And just give everybody the same name, but just maybe even have like multiple actors.
No,
do
it's
each of
gonna
the-
it's gonna be the same name, same actor. That's the important part.
Yeah.
It has to be. It might even have to be me based on what I'm making.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to be me because I don't want to have to like pretend to be into horrible things. But there's an actor out there willing to do it, and if you are and you have money to make that movie and you'll do all the hard work, I'm in.
All we need, the writer,
We
a
just need
producer,
everybody to make it, and I'm just pitching the idea, and I
Yeah.
just pitch that bitch.
Hey.
Come on, dude. Come on, dude. Thank you. All right, Ian.
All right.
Time for you to pitch that bitch.
I think that I would set up a fake store or restaurant or whatnot, and I'd have hidden cameras everywhere and hire a whole staff and give them each like very specific like, oh, these are your like rules. Tell them each like different rules about
Oh
the
my
place.
God.
And then start the first day.
Just,
and,
like, see-
they're all like in different uniforms because like they were all told different stuff. But then like watch.
You can
them
never
all,
be
like,
seen on film again. You have to like disappear from the movie at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
After you've done all that.
Yeah.
And then
And they just can't find the manager.
they just basically they're like, what do we do? And I want to see like them.
Why
come
are you
together
making
as a team.
tacos? This is a burger restaurant.
Yeah,
Like,
and then I want to just let
You
the
have to
customers
call it,
in.
may I speak to the manager?
Then I just want to let the customers in,
Oh my
and like
God.
they get the wrong orders, and like I purposely
you
want
fuck
to
up like the numbers
orchestrate-
on the ordering. It's like, let me get a number 3, and it's like not the same thing
Yeah.
as
inside
what
as
they've
this.
got. Yeah.
Holy
the
shit.
menus don't match up.
That
the
would be
prices
a
are different
great-
in the systems than on the computers and whatnot. And so
Just
like,
like a-
they order something. They
I don't
get
know.
what
That
they
could
want
be
on
an hour and a
purpose.
half, but that would be a fucking bomb ass short.
Just
dude.
like probably the entirety of everything is just gonna have to end up in the film because it'll only last for so long. But just like, can they figure out how to run the
Just wanna
restaurant
see
after
how long
everybody
they
being
last.
that,
given-
like one dude walks in,
Yeah.
it's like, I thought this was a fucking seafood restaurant. Like
Yeah.
literally the levels are so disparagingly different, you know? You hire people that like speak other languages too. like
And
just,
I want to have like insiders that are obviously employees, but also insider customers who like try
Yeah.
to instigate the other customers.
yeah,
and,
they
like,
don't, the customers
their
are like
reaction.
basically the
I
actors
just want this
too, right?
reality show. Like,
It sounds so
I
I
don't
just
even
want
know-
to see
I don't
how
even know
long
that
they
it
would
could
last
be-
working there.
like I feel like that would be amazing to
Ooh,
do like a ridiculous
the last
reality
person to
show
quit,
Like that.
you should give a lot of money to.
Yeah.
I think it makes a better reality show than a movie,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it could make a really
think
good.
it'd
I
be
Igor.
do love the idea of just like okay, so
loose.
you were the sea captain. We're gonna go through and we're gonna do this, and then just crazy shit over here, and just total chaos, just like a full breakdown of existence.
Yeah.
It's just like the person working there is like, does everything look correct on the screen? And the customer just responds back like, fuck no, what is going on?
Like I want like the workers to be like in a good place. Like I want to like play some fun with them. But,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
all the customers. I just want to get the Karens out there. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's a great.
It's like, can I speak to your manager? I don't know who that is.
you're like, can I? Like, fuck.
You're like, if you call this number, apparently a manager will answer and come down, and
It's
then
just
some
the fucking-
actor comes
Yeah.
down like from the ceiling, like just lowers in, and he's
Oh
just
my
like, "Did you
god,
need something?"
like Sly Cooper.
Oh,
I
underrated.
do think that possibly, just maybe, he might have just pitched that bitch, Zane. What's up? All right, guys, this review has just been. It's been fucking wild.
Yeah.
If you guys want to go ahead and subscribe, like the video, whatever it may be, or if you just want the audio version, you can check it out on Spotify. Make sure to sub though, guys, because we got great videos coming out like this all the time. And also make sure to go check out Cousin Ian's YouTube channel. We actually were in a short on his channel a while ago, and it's really you'll see me at my largest in the most unflattering red shirt you've ever seen. But it's a great short, and you should watch it. Also, Zane's on Twitch, I guess. What's up? Thanks, guys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, like I said, and keep it real.
Adios.